thinking, man, I don't even talk this much, ever, because I'm like doing like, I mean, it'd vary, it depends how difficult the script was on the day, but I could probably do 1,000 words in an hour, but that wasn't all the time, not all the time, because obviously it'd have to be like, because I mean, as you know, in the game itself, there's fictional names, fictional characters, fictional places, so obviously you have to get the pronunciations. And then there's a lot of words like an encyclopedia, which, words that I'd never heard of, English words. I don't know how to pronounce them, so I have to learn how to pronounce, English words.
It's a beautifully eloquent game. Like, you narrate it in such a way where it's going through these words that, like you said, words that I wasn't even familiar with. And I was like, wow, I don't even know what it meant, but it sounded great in my ears. I was like, this is awesome. Was it daunting then, like having a 50-kilogram script like dropped on your lap for this being your first like voice acting role?
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, somebody asked me. I mean, initially, I got the gig through a friend because they were looking for someone to do the trailer for the original 2019.
Oh, okay.
And a friend of mine, he knew someone who worked on the game, and at the last minute they were sort of looking for someone to do a trailer because like the game was coming out. It was like October, but I think it was in September that they needed a trailer, and they heard my voice because she was going on about my voice, like to these people, and they were just like, oh yeah, whatever. But at the last minute, they said, oh, this friend of yours, could you And I was like, okay, I'll give it a go.
And they come crawling back.
Yeah. And you want me? And the trailer was the first one was in the great city at the end of the world. There's a dead body behind a hostel cafeteria and a strike that's about to become a war. And I did it on my phone.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, let's go for it. And we're in the studio and done it. And then I was in the studio and they're like, what would you say to do some more stuff on the game? I mean, I said, yeah, sure.
Well, I'll have to check my calendar to see if I can fit you in.
and so that was in probably that was in October. So in the following year, in about April, that's when they started the recording.
So was this... So, because there's two versions of the game, isn't there? There's normal Disco Elysium, and then there's Disco Elysium, the Final Cut.
Yeah.
So did you come in for Final Cut then, or were you...
Yeah, Final Cut. Because in the first game, as far as I know, there was a few voice actors. So a certain percentage, small percentage of the dialogue was voiced. And so they decided, because it was popular, and probably to get it onto other platforms, once I'd done the trailer and then they heard my voice, they decided that's what they wanted to use for the narration. I mean, they decided that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was really, really grateful and happy, that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so daunting, but obviously I had to deliver, so that's kind of the daunting side of it. But then, I believed that I could do it.
Oh, of course. But it must have been nice for you to do this, like, oh, here's the trailer information, and then they come back to you and just go like, can you do everything, please?
I mean, even when they, said it, I didn't even think, because I just thought they said, oh, can you do like, and when they said the amount of words, I mean, I didn't know, because I have no experience of if it's a lot or, is that normal? Is that what
I'll have that cracked out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, easy, mate.
No, but initially, I think they said something like 70,000 words, because they wanted to do narration, and then they said they wanted to do the skills as well, like in the head, the main characters, and then the main characters, voiced in the head. But I'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever.
I mean, it's mad that a game that came out obviously previous being its normal version became the Final Cut, but everyone knows about this game because of the narration, even though it was an addition onto like a revised version.
I don't know how people know the game. As far as I know, it's Disco Elysium, and it's a popular game. But I mean, I got a lot of comments about the narration. I'm very flattered indeed. But I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Oh no,
I couldn't imagine, honestly, because I only played this with the Final Cut. and I couldn't imagine playing the previous version just because, as much as I like the context and I like everything about the game, I couldn't imagine reading all that.
There's a lot to read. Yeah,
that's like trying to read through every book in Skyrim. Like
Just
picking up random books within a video game and then reading them. It's just like it's a lot.
Man,
but...
I'm talking about I had to read books.
You had to read books.
So, the Man from Helmdall and and all that, and I had to, it's like I was reading books inside the game. Like,
I'm here to play games, not read literature. Fuck!
I'm here to lead, not to
some
read.
days, it was tough some days, because there'd be like a list of words. So
Yeah.
I'd have a list of words, that I don't know, or obviously they're a pronunciation, or they'll be in a foreign language. Because I had to. There was a scene where I had to do Greek.
Oh wow.
With the wall and the wall. Oh God, I can't remember. In the Shivers, not in Shivers. In it's so many I can't remember. It was like Oulagu Theondos, and I had a Greek friend of mine because they gave me a pronunciation and they wrote out. They thought it should be sounding, and I tried it, and then I took to a Greek friend and I said, and the way I said it, goes no, like that. And they just wrote it out for me, and then I practiced it. I practiced it all night. It was only like 2 or 3 lines, but Greek, ancient Greek.
You don't expect to be putting that in a game about a superstar hobo cop, do you?
So
that's a lot of the games in like French kind of adjacent as well, isn't it? It's like Revachol or Martinez or a lot of French.
I kind of noticed actually, as you pointed out, kind of just noticed that. But then there are certain things in the game where that's, it's relatable to certain places in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, because like when I started it, I thought it was supposed to be like French Canada, or like Canada. That's where Canada. Well, it sounds fancy when you say French Canada. Yeah, that's in my mind. That's what I thought it was supposed to be. And then it was only as the game sort of progressed a little bit more that I was like, oh, these places actually aren't real places. I actually did hear a full word count for the entire game, which was, I think it was over a million words. Which is like, this comes from Jim Asher-Levy, who's the voice director, isn't he? Yeah. So he said the entire word count is 1 million words, which is like adding Lord of the Rings and all of The Hobbit and then timesing it by 2. Which, if you like that as an equation, that's LOTR plus T.H times 2 equals disco.
That's a good calculation there.
Yeah, thank you. We got to keep it scientific on the show. Just jot that down. Yeah. Oh, I've got something I wanted to ask you actually, in regards to the words and like going into outside of the game into real life moments. Do you ever find yourself like narrating yourself because of getting into the character of
I suppose in a way, yes, but not. Because I do voices all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where am I? I mean, for my own entertainment.
Yeah. Did they ever come from the tie or the neck area?
But it was, I've kind of got the. It's nice to, it's like practice my voice. To try and get different voices, accents, and stuff. So, I do find myself talking to myself. Myself quite, often.
Yeah. I tend to find I always do it when I've done something really stupid, and Jordan can attest to that. That happens quite often, and I'm like, Harrison, what the fuck are you doing?
It's the moment where you go, haha, oh god,
oh fuck, what have I done?
I mean, you got to be comfortable,
It must be awkward for neighbours because it does sound like there's 2 different people when you do voices.
Yeah,
you're talking to yourself, and then another voice happens, and then someone knocks on.
I'm practicing a part, I'm practicing something, and it'll be early in the morning, and I'm sure that the neighbours can hear me.
Shouting in ancient Greek.
Exactly. Yeah, cause I was sort of like, because I had to every day, when I was on the train going to, I'd be reading, get home, have something to eat and I'll read. So there was a lot of like, it wasn't like I had to remember the stuff because I couldn't, you know, obviously it's just too much, but just to make sure I got a nice flow on each one, you know, I'd mark how I'm going to try to say it, you know, just, it's almost like musical note in it, almost in a way. You know?
Yeah, like annotating it.
Yeah, just sort of, and then when I get in the studio, and what the hell does that mean?
Why am I putting up arrow? What does up arrow mean?
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Why didn't I put a key? That's a good question, to be fair. Do you get, because you do have quite a distinctive voice, and especially like the voices you do in disco, do you get recognised for your voice at all? But I suppose then again, COVID not being out much, you'd struggle to have people find you because you're not outside.
Well, not really. Only when I try and disguise my voice from somebody I don't want to talk to. That's you, isn't it? Oh, it's not.
You try and pretend you're not yourself and do the voice from disco, and then someone goes, "Oh, you're the guy from disco." You're like, I can't win. So the way that what I was trying to get to initially before we kind of trail off a lot in these conversations is with the way the narration works. Obviously, in the game, depending on what skills you have, different versions or different parts of Harry's brain kind of interject with things. So if you're good with interfacing, you'll pick up on like the sound of a car, or if you're good big into electrochemistry, you'll know something about drugs, which will lead to something else happening in your brain. How do you feel about like a lot of the lines you have recorded just aren't going to be heard by quite a lot of players?
Really?
What?
Wasted my time. Yeah. I kind of thought that when the game, you know, because so obviously there was sometimes when we were going over and over lines, and I wasn't getting it right. And I thought they probably don't even hear it anyway. You know? So I kind of like at some lines I was hoping they didn't hear. You know.
Yeah. I mean, there is quite a nice spin on that, though, in that it always makes sure that, well, not always, but the predominance of times that you play through this, you're always going to get a different playthrough than someone else is going to get. And then from like a game designer point of view, it also gives an element of like replayability to go back and experience it in a different way.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing about the game. That I found when people commenting on it, you know, is the different playthroughs of, you know, people commenting, you know, with their spoilers about certain things, but it might be a spoiler, but you never actually get there because something completely happened. So different happens, you know. So spoilers are not too bad on that game, you know, because you know.
Yeah, because you might not get it.
Yeah, you might not even get it.
Yeah, because like the way I was trying to play it, well, the way I'm going through it currently is the Superstar Hobo Cop. Like, I want it to be like, he always interjects the weirdest things to Kim, and Kim's like, what? Yeah, what? And then just like branches off over it.
It's cool self, you know, doesn't want to expose it too much. Yeah.
Was it hard to like wrap your head around so many branching dialogue options? Like, you know, when you, like you said, you're going through the different versions.
Well, I didn't actually think about that. You know, that wasn't on my mind at all. You know, I was just, the words were in front of me, and I'd get a brief outline of the character, and they basically tell you exactly, you know, what the character's, you know, main personality, the personality of the character. So I just based it on that, you know, and most of it, I mean, at first I was being directed by Jim, and then I was directed by Cash DeCur, and so I was just following, you know, so he says, okay, this character's, you know, I mean, I just can't remember anything, but drama, you know, as I say, drama is like, you know, you're acting and more over the top, and more, you know, emphasis, you know, on the S's and, you know, sire. Yes, sire. So I took that character on and thought, well, yeah. So each one had its, and I just took that, and so I wasn't thinking about where the conversation's going or anything. You know, I just have the line, blah, 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 say it. Next line, and I say that line again, and then I say again, oh no, you're saying it wrong, you know, the context of it is blah, blah, blah. And then, oh yeah, okay. You know, so if I got it, you know, then it was fine. But if I didn't get it, then we'd go back and, you know, read through the character sheet and just figure things out.
Right. I can't imagine going through that many lines from like the director's point of view to try and make sure that you're leading, connecting threads to how all the conversation's going every time.
I left that to the director because, you know, of course, if I didn't say it right in connection, then he would, you know, because sometimes I would see that on my page, on my script, I just said my lines because it would be too confusing to have loads of lines and then flicking through. So I just said my lines, and then in the main script of the reading, you'd have lines of other people in the conversation. But I wouldn't really. Sometimes you see the bottom of the line, and then that'll give me an idea instead of having to scroll through the script, you know, and you know, try and figure out what the conversation is. Like this sort of had to more or less. I don't know, I would say make the conversation. You know what I mean? It is sort of
It sounds like such an incredibly difficult thing to try and get across, for everyone. But I think something that's really a testament to kind of the writing, and especially to the way you've delivered lines as well, which is amazing to me, is that regardless, because they're all parts of Harry's inner monologue, every part of it, but they're all just distinct enough that you can kind of pick up which is which without having to check. Like, you know which is drama just by those little inflections, or you know which is Shivers because it's a bit more, or half light.
Half light, yeah.
Because it's much more dark and gritty. It's so impressive that they're all a play on the exact same situation.
It's
amazing.
It's kind of it was really tricky because I didn't, you know, because sometimes I'd go off, man, this sounds just like. And then I'll begin to get a bit paranoid. I was in the booth and then trying to change it too much. They go, no, and they'll be like, no, go back because that's fine, you know. And then sometimes we'd have to pick up on some stuff that we made some mistakes on, like say conceptualization or something. And I think, man, I can't remember how so we'd have to play that back, and I'd have to listen, and then I'd get the, you know, and it's really subtle. I mean, it's not dramatic. It's just subtle in each character because you know, the information I was given, it's the same person, you know, it's just a different section of his mind trying to
fight its way forward.
Fight forward to fight for control, you know, of his, you know.
Yeah, it's like Glass, isn't it? The film with James McAvoy, where it's like his personality is taking center stage. Yeah, that's absolutely mad. Did you find yourself learning anything about Harry or even yourself from being his conscience or inner monologue?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I suppose I learned that, you know, you can, you know, life is, you know, as different paths, and it's your decisions, you know, that guide you. You know, almost like it can be a destiny, but it's not always destiny. You know, there are choices to be made. So I suppose that's probably a lesson in that game, and it's probably there in life generally. But this kind of highlights it, and really? You know, your past, you know, can catch up with you at any time. So you have to look after your future by, you know, doing the right thing now. You know.
That's super profound. That was way more profound than I thought it was going to be, Lenval. I was like, I was in there then. I was like, oh my god.
I'm like, man, where am I going with this shit, man?
Yeah.
Well, I got there. Yeah.
Ever in doubt, do that again. That was amazing.
Yeah. That's the take we're using. We're using that one.
So let's, from obviously the story and things like that. There's other really good things that have. Some of the best things about this game are audio related. Obviously, Lenval's voice, clearly. And the music as well is amazing. I find myself listening to the Whirling in Rags day and night themes more than I would like to admit. Yeah, here I am admitting it. You're obviously
I've got it going on in the background.
Constant, non-stop. So you actually, Lenval, are part of a band, aren't you?
Yes.
So you're part of Maroon Town, which is a ska band, if I'm correct.
Yeah. That's
amazing. I love it.
It is really good. I was listening to it today to hype up as well.
Yeah. Definitely, it's one of my great thing. We've been doing for a number of years, band, We haven't really. I mean, we've had our moments where we've done pretty well, but of late we just play, and because the problem is with music is, especially with our band, is like most of the guys in the band are like professional musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes we can't really get together enough because they're doing other stuff.
Studio recording and stuff.
Touring or whatever, And so it's hard to get the band together. So sometimes it's difficult to progress with the band because we're always having to re-rehearse new people or people are stepping in and, you're trying to, but I mean, it's great stuff. And lately we've done a few, I mean, we recorded one, we filmed a gig the other day, which we're going to put out soon. Because we haven't really got much. Yeah, we haven't really got. We go and do gigs, and really, we have a really good time. The crowd have a really good time, but we never record it, and we never capture it. And it's
just someone forgot to hit record on the thing. Just like, we're done. Ah, shit.
I mean, we just but we want to sort of like take it a bit, more seriously in this coming year. But it's great fun. Music is great fun. Yeah, I mean that's
really
sort of it helped me, for the narration, just because I use my voice for the singing, and that's where it's come from. My voice has come from that, from
yeah.
And I've probably done 600 gigs in my time.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So I guess you've always felt the performing bug then.
It's I mean, I suppose everyone, I wouldn't say everybody, but everyone wants to be an actor or something, doesn't it? Everybody, or
everyone has like a creative side.
Yeah, that's right, a great side, and then everyone. So to get an opportunity to do, a voice solo, because I see it more as narration, because I wouldn't consider myself as an actor, because I, to grab the emotions of things in a certain degree, I can do a certain amount, but I'm not skilled to do certain things. So, obviously I want to get better and practice more and try and get involved more. But at this moment in time,
your vocal performances for like certain bits of that game are ridiculously encapsulating. Like there's a bit where, I don't want to spoil it, you meet the X something.
Oh yeah.
And I was fuck me. I was just just like,
no, but actually, I think that was because those ones I could capture it, you know what I mean? So I was sort of like, I mean, I can't remember any lines from it or anything in particular. But it would probably be more around Shivers, and the ones where I have to describe the scene.
Yeah,
I think they're the ones I could connect to more, because I could visualize it. Because what I was doing, I didn't see the game, but I was visualizing.
Yeah.
Like what's the name of that road?
I can't remember now.
Yeah, there's a road that I think where he was from, and
the long road home, or something
the long
like
road
that.
Home, and so that kind of description of that, and the man and the woman in the silhouette, and and these sort of things are going on.
I actually screenshotted one and it is Shivers. I just checked it then. It is a Shivers one. It's in the middle of a broken plaza, in the cone of light, barely visible in the daytime. Two men, one slim, the other one sturdy. They are on the city stage, but only one of them knows his lines. I was like, oh, damn, man. That was great.
Yeah.
Only one of them knows his line. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so nice.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that the voice, the voice that you bring to it absolutely heightens the entire thing. Like, anyone who I've spoke to who's played Disco Elysium, one of the first things that they're like, the voice acting's incredible. And then I've mentioned to a few people, I was like, oh yeah, we're having the narrator on, Lambo Brown. And they're just like, what the fuck?
Really, flattered indeed, I mean, I don't really think about it like that, I mean, I've just done the thing, and it's got a good response, and
definitely did.
And I know I do, I can hear my own voice. I know it sounds, there's something about it, and it is kind of different to a lot of people's voices. So, obviously, the more the merrier. Get me more. I want some more.
Yeah, just get you some more.
Yeah.
Well, we know a couple of voice directors, don't we? So we'll definitely mention that you've been on. Like Kennedy Phillips, who did the cartoon Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Okay, no. See, I'm really
check them out.
I'm out of touch with everything. I actually I've done a couple of other games. One called the Falconer.
Oh shit, you did that?
I done not a small part on that. Dunkel Master.
Oh god, yeah, fuck! I was playing that the other week.
And he gives out the orders to the troops or the ships. Or
yeah.
And then another one was Astria Ascending, like a JRPG.
God, you like your wordy jobs, don't you? JRPGs. God.
They weren't too bad. So, and then, I've done a couple of other things as well. Like things that should be coming out, but I mean.
And is this the one
so long
where
ago, I'm not sure.
You're not allowed to say?
Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble. Don't worry. Have you ever thought about doing like cameos and stuff?
Well, not really. I mean,
you should definitely get on Cameo.com. Can you
get on Cameo.
It in?
Then, just to clarify, they're not a sponsor of ours. Jordan was like, Cameo.com. Like, comes up across the screen.
If he just spirals in. But no, honestly,
I'll do that.
Give it a look. That would be such a, like, anyone requesting, like, I need a voice clip of this man. Just whack a standard rate on there, get it in. So the music to the game then, have you heard much of the music to the game?
Only what I've heard in the game itself. I mean, not really. I mean, I suppose. I've heard, because we were playing the album. We played the album in the studio. I mean, I do think the music's quite incredible. I mean, I think before I did the voice and I played the game, the music just captured me. And then when I was visualizing, my lines, when I was doing the lines, and I was, the music. I wouldn't say it was that music, but that sort of music and that kind of atmosphere. Yeah,
it's very atmospheric.
Yeah, so basically, so with each character, I would put a music in my head, because it was like for rhythm. So for me to do it, it was so some lines I'd do it in a rhythm, as if there's a beat.
Yeah.
So that I'd get a rhythm, and other characters I wouldn't do with that rhythm, because that would make it easier to make them different.
Okay,
right.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it, and I suppose that's only a way that a musician would look at it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't think of any other way of looking at it, because to me it would sound the same, but then obviously after, so there'd be a voice this low, and there'd be a voice even lower, and there's a voice kind of high. So, but then each time, but to try and keep them within each other.
Yeah.
Kind of difficult not to cross over so that it sounds too high. So when I'm ending the word, I should be going down and not up. So sort of, constructing it in a way. So this character will be ending more on a high, and the other one will be more high, or be more angry in his voice, just a bit more like electrochemistry, more aggressive and or endurance, come on, you can do it, Harry.
Yeah. Would you ever be like, guys, this is endurance, can we put like a ska beat in the background of this? Go on, Harry, you can do it.
What I'm going to need is, I'm going to need you to put a donk on this.
Jordan, you had a description of ska, by the way.
I did, and this is a description of ska that I would very much like your opinion on, Lendwall. However, I promise you, I've not written this, and I mean it in no disrespect whatsoever. So the description that someone put online of what ska is it's what plays in a 13-year-old kid's head when they get extra mozzarella sticks.
Yes, could be if they've heard it.
Yeah, I mean, fucking yes, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, why not?
There's a lot going on very quickly in that moment,
and it's just like it's so upbeat and happy. I love it. I love ska.
Yeah, I've grew up with it, because my parents from Jamaica, and so as a kid, that's what I would hear. But I didn't think I would be involved in ska music, really, growing up. But especially in my 20s, I got involved with this band. So I'm not going to disclose how old I am.
Yeah, I was going to
say in your 20s, that could only be 6 months ago. Clearly,
6 months ago, the best.
Yeah, Yeah, so I met them. I was a baby.
No, I mean, ska and reggae music is like a wonderful, both wonderful styles of music. It's something that I've grown up with from my dad because he used to play like Steel Pulse, what was it, UB40, like Babylon the Bandit was an album. I was actually listening to it. I sent it to Jordan before and I was like, I've been listening to this all day because my dad was playing it yesterday. And I was like, oh, I've not heard this album in years. And my dad actually used to play in reggae bands. He lived in London in like the 70s. And that was what he used to do.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
In London, you know, obviously the scene in the 70s and whatever would be just great. Reggae scene and stuff. Yeah, I mean, obviously I was a kid then.
Yeah. Whippersnapper.
I wasn't born. And I was...
If you've got any music to suggest to us, by the way, send us links. And send us links to your new video when it comes out and we'll share it out for you.
Oh, please do.
Definitely.
So I think Harrison had a little bit of trivia in regards to British Sea Power, who are the band who did the music for the game. Would you like to give us a little bit of that trivia?
Yeah, so British Sea Power, not only did they do, obviously, Disco Elysium, they've been more known for doing TV shows, and they did a movie called Captain Webb, and I regret to inform you, they did Made in Chelsea. I was well surprised to see that on their repertoire.
Really?
Yeah, I know. We all need diving boards to jump off, and maybe it was just like the first thing they could get. And I've never watched it. So maybe it's got a banging soundtrack. I don't know. I've not listened to it. I've never watched it.
I actually watched Made in Chelsea for the soundtrack. I'll have you know.
Oh really? Oh really? That is a clip out of this episode that is going on all the social medias.
Please don't do this.
10 weeks on a trot. I mean.
A classic. A true classic.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it's the soundtrack in Disco Elysium is way more like, it's almost noir, I find, and it makes the whole crime drama like vibes. It effervesces crime drama. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely got that, you know, that sparkle necessary for what's going on, and you know, because it's like even crossing the water. You know, we're in the church music. You know, it just brings something, you know, something deep. You know,
it does. It's a game that at its core is like based around exploration. It's learning who you are while you go through it. And I think, again, if anyone is to play it for the first time and is still, because we haven't really spoiled anything in this conversation, still go in blind. Don't do any research and just find yourself in it and go on this journey of like discovery with the character, because it really is amazing. In terms of like RPG things like that, have you ever done any like live RPG stuff, Lenval?
No, I haven't.
No way.
No, I don't know what that is. What is?
Get you in Dungeons and Dragons.
Excuse my ignorance. What is live RPG?
Essentially, what they are is it's like playing board games where you would create the character and have character traits like you do in this game, but it's done in a live situation. So you have a person who is a narrator like yourself, and they're essentially leading the game, and you have people sat around you, and you all experience a game as you go through it. So you would have like a map drawn out on the table and everything. I've only ever played it once. No, sorry, twice. I played a normal D&D one, like online, like this. We did it in a Discord call, and we actually streamed it live to Twitch. And we played one in person, which was a Star Wars one. So there's ones in famous universes. There's even like a Stranger Things Dungeons and Dragons. It's crazy.
Well, Stranger Things has Dungeons and Dragons in it, doesn't it?
I know. It's so meta. It's like it's all referencing each other.
Okay, so how does one get into this sort of thing?
I mean, there's
good
groups.
Question. I've been trying.
We'd have to set one up. I mean, I actually want to set one up in the Burrito Discord at some point. If I do it, Lenval, you're more than welcome to join us. Like, you can come and play with us. It would be great.
Because actually I want to learn more about gaming because I'm a bit out of touch. You know?
Okay, right. Yeah, because Jordan mentioned that you played Tekken. Right?
Yeah,
back in the day, Tekken. Yeah.
Who is the best Tekken character according to you, and why is it King?
Oh yeah, I just remember King. So King was like the leopard guy.
Leopard-headed guy. I always played as King, not because I'm a furry. Before anyone joins out. And Lenval, if you don't know what a furry is, Google it. You'll have a great time.
Don't.
Okay, I'll leave that to a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my character, I think I used to Was it Kazuya? Was it Kazuya?
Kazuya.
Yeah. So he
Kazuya.
was.
Yeah, he was just like the Bruce Lee kind of character.
Oh no, that's Kazuya's martial
wing?
law. Martial law wins.
Yeah, that's right. But it was a long time ago. I mean, we're talking about Tekken, the first Tekken.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not the Tekken now where they look real.
Oh,
It was
yeah,
like, 2D. It was like 2D.
and there are like 5,000
It was
characters.
You'd play with a group of friends, because obviously there was days, you'd have to be in the same room to play
Yeah.
together. And you take turns, and like your winner stays on. And like there's people who win without throwing a punch, more or less. There was just blocking. You're blocking, and where your level goes down, your weakness or your strength bar goes down. And there was one punch. Those were the days.
Like, speaking about like music, Glenville, and like audio content and stuff, obviously because like we're podcasters, we consume like a lot of audio media, whether it's like this or whether it's audiobooks and stuff. Have you ever like thought about doing audiobooks? You'd listen to them.
I'm sort of right now, so obviously since I've done the voice work, I think, it would be a nice thing to get into, to do stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if the right opportunities come along, I'll gladly have a lock at stuff. I mean, I haven't got an agent or anything like that, so, I mean, I'm not really doing myself any favours, but, I'm just here.
It's all right. You've got us now.
We're your agent now, then, Val. We're on the case. Yeah, because I think you do really, really well. Like I haven't really got into audiobooks until more recently, but I've been going through like the Stephen King books, and I mean, I got one free book with what's it called?
Audible.
The Amazon Audible. You get one free token for like any free book. And I was like, right, what's the longest book I can find? And it was it. And it was like 48 hours.
Free money's worth.
Well, yeah, you may as well. I might not like it, so I may as well have it stuck there. Yeah. But I think like your kind of voice reading, like even like horror or like sci-fi, something.
I sort of practice at home, I'll get a few books and start reading,
I love how you missed out crime drama, Harrison, which is
crime
literally
drama.
what Disco Elysium is.
I thought you want to branch out, you got to test out other avenues, Jordan.
But horror sounds good.
Oh,
See?
yeah. That would be terrifying.
Just say this for me, though. Just say, in the dark.
In the dark.
See? Point proven.
You've got me.
Checkmate.
Obviously, it must be weird going from like your first voice acting job has been like one of the most critically acclaimed video games, possibly all like role-playing games ever. That must be pretty. Did you ever consider getting into voice acting beforehand?
I wouldn't say I did. Well, I didn't think there was a path, or didn't think about it. I mean, I knew I had a voice. Mm-hmm. Clearly, talking to myself. No, I mean, people. Yeah. Is that you?
Yes.
Oh, it is.
So I would kind of say, yeah. I mean, I didn't think of it being potentially anything, because I didn't think there was a path, or. But I was told I had a voice. And people said, "Oh, you should do this and do that," and I'd be like, "Well, yeah, I should, yeah." Yeah, I should, yeah. But,
I should, and then you just walk away.
So yeah, just want to give it a go, I suppose, more.
Absolutely.
It's not just me and Jordan who think you should do way more. Like I know that among our community, like a lot of people want to hear you do more stuff. I actually read today, and Jordan, I know this is something we mentioned yesterday. We were talking about this because someone shared an image of Matt Berry as Harry for like a live action version of Disco Elysium, and Amazon Studios this week has made a deal with DJ2 Entertainment, who, according to my notes here that I'm checking down at, are the co-producers of Sonic and Sonic 2, which is obviously yet to come out. And they're looking to make TV and film adaptations of Life is Strange and Disco Elysium.
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
Which is absolutely mad.
Was that? I read that somewhere.
Strange.
I'm not hiding anything or holding anything back. Honestly, I'm just, to me, I consider, I read stuff just like anybody else, and nobody, I wouldn't expect anything at all. It'd be nice if I was involved in some ways, that sort of thing. Because it's only like written down. Nobody's.
No one's got.
You confirmed anything, So I mean, it's nice to know that the game has brought attention on a broader scale.
Yeah, like particularly to such big studios. And I just want to clarify that question wasn't like a fishing rod to reel information out of you. I was about to ask, if they were to do that kind of thing, do you think that would be something you'd be interested in doing? Like, would you like to see the narrator, or would you like to remain hidden? Almost like you could be a dark figure in the background, in the shadows that you never really see. Or...
in the dark.
In the dark.
I don't know how to answer that question without sounding like.
We can always cut it or bleep it. It's fine.
I suppose. I'd like to prefer the voice. To remain the voice. If something like that was to happen, it would be. Necessarily want to be seen, but if people want to see me, if that's what the people who are paying money want to pay somebody to do, then that's what you do.
Yeah, because I was in my head, I was trying to think like, how could, because I work in TV Lenvol as a freelance thing. That's what I do, and I was trying to think like, how would such a narrative heavy game translate onto the screen where people are expecting to see things. So that was what I was trying to play with, like how would the scene play out, kind of thing. I almost imagined it like the narrator is a character that only Harry can see. So like imagine he like walks out onto the balcony and the camera just sort of shifts over and you're just sort of like stood there. And then someone else walks out and you're not there, and it's like, well, that's fucking weird.
How'd your fucking shoe end up out here, Harry? Jesus Christ!
That's right. How'd it get out of here, Harry? Back inside.
Just really sassy. That'd be amazing. Just a really sassy narrator. That's the change. What do you call this, Harry? What do you call this?
Call this
mess.
Harry. It's a fucking mess.
Throw the shoe back at him, and it's just like. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, they're doing more. Like, they're even going to do Mass Effect as well. Obviously, like, I'm particularly excited for the Halo series, which I think it's Paramount are doing.
Yeah, I think these big studios, they've caught on that a lot of people now is the young people is into games and are connected that way.
Yeah.
And they can get the audience, in a different way. It's a new audience.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm glad that they're doing series out of them, because this is something me and Jordan have spoke about at length when we've like reviewed video game movies, for example. Because games are so in depth, and there is, like Disco Elysium, there's so much content in there. They're so rich with information and lore. You can't get that across in a film because there's just not enough time. Like, no matter how much you want. I was speaking to Trevor, Jordan, the other day from Catching Up on Cinema about the Resident Evil film, the new film. What's it called? Welcome to Raccoon City. And he was mentioning it's almost like they're just doing the memes. It's just like the Resident Evil memes, because that's all the information you can get to catch people's attention. Whereas if you do a series, you've got so much more time to flesh out
can build the
interesting characters. Exactly.
Well, that's what games have, is that games have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And that if someone wants to learn about the world, they can sit and look at the game and walk around it and get that information. That's amazing. You can't do that with a film. You can't do that with like 90, 120 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think a TV show is great for that. Like The Mandalorian, and how it's kind of grown those characters.
Yeah.
It is so impressive that they cram all this stuff into this TV show, even with set dressing. But that's the freedom they have, because they give you 10 hours opposed to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I can't wait for more games to get that treatment, because game writing, and again, this game is a complete testament. Like, I usually feel I have to sell games to people to try it. But with this one, I can't, because I'm like, I don't want to ruin anything. This game is an absolute testament to how well writing can be done and executed. And it's just incredible. It deserves that kind of treatment of making it big
Yeah, he does.
on the
He totally
screen,
does.
big screen,
Big screen, big time.
Big time, big.
Yeah.
jazz hands.
Lenville, so with series like that then, do you think that you would be interested in watching series from other games as someone who's been outside of gaming, really?
Yeah. As I said, it's a new approach to, visual entertainment.
Yeah.
Obviously, visual entertainment is, gaming is visual so bringing it together as so everyone's watching the same thing, like almost like streaming, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a way. So yeah, it's the future. So I'm happy to embrace that.
That's a great way to look at it, because I hope that so many more people who are either on the fringe of gaming or completely disconnected from it can connect with some of the stories that gamers love. For example, like the Halo franchise, like we mentioned a moment ago. I interviewed one of the writers, Karen Travis, who wrote like 3 Halo books. She's written 6 Gears of War books. Like, she's been so in-depth in these stories. And I love the Halo franchise. It's so good. There's so much more interesting things in it, even just outside of the games. But people will never get to know it if they haven't played the games. And that's where I think these films and series can fill in so much, and then that connects people together, doesn't it? Because if you think, I can then talk about my love of Halo as someone who's never even played the games at all,
Yeah, I mean, that connection is I suppose what they're trying to achieve, because there are people who say who play the game, but there's people who would like to play the game but probably haven't got the time.
Yeah.
To sit down, because obviously if you're playing Halo, for instance, it's hours and hours of play. But if you had a series and it takes you through it, how long is the series? Like 10 hours or
10
hours,
episodes, something.
Yeah.
But to play the game, it's like it takes up a lot of time.
Especially when there's like 7 Halo games and they're like 30-hour campaigns. Yeah, it takes a long time to get through. I mean, and like, speaking about connections, we reached out on Reddit, didn't we, Jordan, for some questions? Should we hit some of our questions? So this first one comes from, I felt quite an affinity with this person because his name is Bread Creature, and as a man who loves his bread and baking, me and him have an affinity. So they said, did you have a favorite skill voice to perform? I'm sure he's been asked tons this, but I'd love to know.
Well, I always seem to go back to Shivers, because it just seemed to connect more with the city and actual Revachol and what it was all about. So it was more away from Harry, and more the descriptive of what's going on, and so that was, I found that quite more comfortable.
Yeah,
that sort of style of delivery and description, together, it had more flow. It wasn't too many words in it. That was a nice flow. So
Okay.
I suppose, and the particular words, but I would say encyclopedia was probably the most difficult, but it was quite enjoyable to learn all the words.
yeah, man.
Were you dropping them into random conversations after?
Yeah, that's
like
right.
on the way back on the train.
No, actually, what would actually happen would be I'd read it and I'd learn the words, and then I'd forget about it completely, because honestly, I had to just empty my brain every day. I had to empty. I couldn't go back and like get home and think about that day, that bit was tough, and that word, just done, gone. Stretch it off.
You go to use the word, and there's just like the dial-up sound on the internet. Yeah.
I imagine like you're learning so many words that you just start to like cross meanings. So like someone's like, "Oh, are you all right, love?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm just feeling really photosynthesis."
So I've actually counter question to that then. What skill didn't you like, or were you least like? Did you struggle with the most? I struggle to say that. I think I'm struggling with words in general.
Well, I suppose it was encyclopedia, even though I enjoyed it, but it was because it was very wordy and very descriptive.
Was there limbic?
Limbic system.
No, that was
high one.
Michael. No, that was my. I didn't do that voice. That was
Yeah.
Mike. That was Mikey Goodman.
Right, I thought it was someone else because it's very, very high register, isn't it?
It is ridiculously high.
Yeah, he does
register.
the tie, and the limbic system.
The tie is mental.
Yeah, and, he does a couple of other characters in it. The shopkeeper.
Okay.
Is that
he's
Gart?
good.
No, that's
Gart's-
the that's the bartender. Or not the bartender. That's the manager.
Cafeteria manager.
That's the one. Yeah.
the in the shop. The pawn shop.
Oh yes, the guy who's on drugs.
Yeah, that's right.
Spoilers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's. So yeah, difficulty wise, I suppose, encyclopedia, but
Yeah.
there was some that were kind of like interfacing. It was kind of like, well, what am I doing with this? So, but I think that was the first one interfacing. So
I always forget how many there are.
oh,
There's loads. Yeah.
As
absolutely
it,
loads.
I will
24.
quickly. The list is logic, encyclopedia, rhetoric, drama, conceptualization, visual calculus, volition, inland empire, empathy, authority, esprit du corps, suggestion, endurance, pain threshold, physical instrument, electrochemistry, shivers, half-light, hand-eye coordination, perception, reaction speed. I don't know how savoir-faire,
Savoir-faire.
interfacing, and
That's another
composure.
savoir-faire.
Yeah, I'm glad you know how to
Savoir-faire.
say it.
And esprit de corps.
Yeah,
Supreme Court. Yeah.
that's so many.
24.
24. Jesus.
24. Yeah. Yes, thinking about it, it's just like, oh, yeah.
Getting flashbacks. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh god.
I've gotta go.
Just do. Ledvo's left the call. Our next question comes from James G. And they said, James G, if there was a sequel, would you like to be involved? And is there anything you would like to see covered more in the universe? Game universe, not just like space.
Oh wow!
I'm a big fan of Mercury.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
love
that
Mercury.
much.
So what was the first part of that question again? Sorry.
If there was a sequel, would you like to be involved?
Oh yeah, sequel. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
No.
No, actually, yeah, it'd be nice to see where it goes if that was to happen. To see where Harry goes, or how they would, it's a difficult one. I think they probably need to do one because it's quite popular. Like most games, they do a certain one or whatever. So I'm sure they'll find a plot. Whether I'm involved or not is another story, who knows? But
If you're not, I think there might be riots from the people who are like,
Yes,
what's the actual
let's put a
fuck?
protest? Yeah, let's put a protest. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love to, yeah, without a doubt.
Awesome. And you've got a question from our good friend Jake, haven't you?
Yeah, Jake Hatt. So when I mentioned we were speaking to you, he replied with 4. Which was very, very good. So his question was, how did you make the dialogue so engaging? And then, is there anything you made sure you did or did not do?
The main thing I did was just going in there is to just do the best I can and try to understand what's going on. It was difficult because there was so much going on, and it was like. But because I had really good direction, it just made it a lot easier. And it wasn't like direction, like, I'll do this and that. Oh no, it was easy going, just go with it. And if there's anything wrong, they'll stop me. And, so it's not, I lost the question.
No, is it like a low pressure kind of like nice environment to work in opposed to like, there's no
there's
passive aggression or anything?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no pressure. And if I said, oh man, I need to stop, I could say, if I wouldn't break 10 minutes, forward in an hour, whatever, it was really easy going, to make comfortable for me. I mean, really, really, nice people to work with, really nice.
Were they quite kind of, obviously with it being your first voice acting job, were they quite relaxed with you and like recognized that? Like they weren't trying to like push through and get it all done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, well, yeah. Of course, they wanted to get it done as quickly as possible. They were hanging about. Yeah, it was really relaxed. Really relaxed.
Yeah,
you know,
That's
you
nice.
just, you know, I chose my days. I mean, sometimes, you know, when I did say that, you know, I want to do less, or, you know, well, we need to do this amount, you know, but, you know, I'd say, well, you know, we'll still get it done. Don't worry, you know.
Yeah.
So it was no pressure. If there was any pressure, then, you know, just calm
It was
yourselves
handled
down.
well.
Like, calm yourself down. You know what I mean? It's coming. But, you know, there was a lot, to be honest, they were writing all the time. So while I was recording, there was always writing, they were still writing. So when I started recording, they'd probably only written half the script. So it was like, sometimes they're like, well, I have to stop for a week because they had nothing, you know, because we
Right.
grew up, you know.
You're
they had a patch where
just
they-
too good. That was the issue.
Well, I
Just
think
getting
they
through
had
that
a-
script, smashing it.
I think they had a patch where, because I don't know how they, you know, I don't know how people go about writing stuff because it's really, really complex, you know, really, because the way they have to write it. So sometimes we'd have to go back and do something again because of some mistake further on or in the writing in terms of things that occur, you know. So
Retroactively fixing structure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes I think, oh yeah, I finished. Visual calculus is finished, and then like they'll be like, oh no, we had to read this bit. So
Bit
like,
of bad news.
Yeah, it was still, you know, easy going, and everybody was really supportive and of understanding. Yeah, that I was new to it, but they still expected a certain pace of delivery.
So I got to ask, what's next for a man of your pure dank vocal chops, Lenval?
Well, who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, I've got a couple of projects that in the pipeline, and I've probably, you know, I'm hoping to, you know, get more work and do more games because particularly, it's to me, narration and that kind of thing is, you know, it's I feel, yeah, probably suited to it. So yeah, I do want to do more, and I expect to be, you know, doing more. In the future, indeed.
I mean, you know,
Please, sir.
Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo all listen to this podcast, so sure, you'll be ringing off the hook after
Right,
this.
exactly. You know, I do my music, sort of taking that more, you know, of late. So we're going to start going to the studio and doing more stuff and recording more stuff, putting more stuff out there, developing what's already there, you know, because we've got a rich history, this band, you know. You know, so we've been going since the 80s, like late 80s.
Right, okay. Yeah, like I said, when you were a baby,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So little baby, and you know, we at one point we were sponsored by Dr. Martens,
Oh, wow.
and
Oh, really?
and the British Council, and so we went to places like, you know, India, Indonesia, you know, Bali, Sri Lanka, Venezuela. You know,
That's
traveled
amazing.
around with them.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, so but we, you know, but of lately we've got a lot of, you know, fans around the world. So we need to link it up and get ourselves back out there more on the social media platforms, because we're old school, so we just go out,
I did have a
drink
look
off.
at the website,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I wonder who the members are. And it was just you. It just says
No, well,
Lenval Brown.
Well, now, well, the point is that my brother actually made a site. And,
Oh, okay.
And the band members are supposed to give information so that he can put on. And he said, well, I'll put your picture up then. You know, if nobody else is going to give anything, then basically over the next few weeks, so that's why we've done this video. So we've got stuff to put up. You know, I'm going. You know, as I say, we're going to develop that side of it. You know, as I say, at least I'm on it.
Yeah.
I am Maroon Town.
Yes.
So yeah, I expect that to change over the next few weeks because we're really because we had a meeting about it and about who's handling which side of you know, the media and stuff like that. But yeah,
Awesome, dude.
Definitely.
Well, if you come play up in Manchester, you got to let us know because me
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jordan will come watch.
Oh, yeah,
Please,
definitely.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, man, definitely love to. I think when most of our stuff is we've actually got a gig up somewhere that way.
Top north.
It's up north, in cold north.
Bring a jacket.
Yeah, it's cold up here. Right, well, I think that brings us to the end of our show, Anbar.
Oh, what a shame. It's
I
been
know.
really nice.
I know, it's been amazing.
Do you want to shout out any of your social media where they can give you a follow?
Well, yeah, well, we've got Maroontown. They like a little follow on Facebook. And as I say, forget about the website, but it's under construction.
Yeah,
and
still
yeah, and we've got Instagram, Maroontown Band.
Mm-hmm.
Is it at?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll add all the social links. Don't worry about remembering them all now. I'll add them all below. You send them over. I'll get them over there. Jordan, where can they find you?
First of all, Lembo, where can people get in touch if they want any voice work doing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they can contact you because you're my agents now.
Oh, yeah.
No, we've got that in writing.
Got it. This counts as proof. This is legal.
Oh, I'm on Twitter. I got email address.
We'll whack it. Make sure it's all in the description as well.
Yeah,
we'll
send
keep
it all to me.
there.
We'll stick it down there. Yeah, man.
Excellent.
Awesome.
And yes,
Fantastic.
they can find me at the Mr. John Core on Twitter. I've not said that in a while. Is that
No,
right?
you haven't. Yeah, that's right, Jordan. Don't worry.
Same when I first spoke to Jordan, I didn't know his name, so obviously he texted me, and I'm like, "What do I call him?" And I said, "Mr. J."
Mr. J.
Mr. J. Very
something
good.
like that. It's just like, obviously he explained his name.
Yeah.
I did point out, I was like, yeah, it's my fault. I'm just a moron when it comes to naming myself.
See, Lenwell, this gets so much more complicated when you realise that my old co-host used to be called John.
Okay.
And so now people call Jordan John, and he's like, no, his name's Jordan. He's like, but I thought the other co-host was, and it gets way complicated.
I called him Mr. John. That's it, Mr.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's my own fault. I don't get offended because I've done it to myself.
Yes, he has. He's done it to himself. So yes, you can find me at HasWild on all the social medias, and you can find the podcast at Grief Burrito everywhere. If you like the episode, remember to like, subscribe, wherever it is that you're watching, and you can see us next week. I've been Has. He's been Jordan. Go on, you can say I've been Jordan.
I've been Jordan. Thank you for stealing my name.
And I've been Neville. Only me.
Only me. Right, guys, have an amazing time. Bye.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Bye.
That was sick, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cheers, man.